Oh, pass the Dutchie on left hand side. Hey, pass the Dutchie on left hand side. How does it feel when you got no food?
Mass media control, and we're just along for the ride. Here is a very special culture Burns. Hello and welcome. So today we have a very special news-related culture Burns episode. First on the radar is John Bernthal joins Tom Holland in Spider-Man Brand New Day, completing a long-sought nerd dream of having the Punisher in a Spider-Man movie. Amazing.
What are they like? What are they going to talk about? When have the Punisher and Spider-Man interacted?
What are they gonna talk about? That's not even, they're just gonna talk in the movie. They're not even gonna fight together. He's just gonna be like, hey kid, I respect you.
He does with Daredevil.
Yeah, but he still works with Daredevil. Remember he like shot all those people on the roof, all those ninjas at the end of season 2?
Yeah.
So, he still shoots people and so maybe he'll start shooting people. Oh, dude, if this leads to Daredevil being in this movie, it would be crazy. But I feel like this was originally going to be like a Kingpin type movie. But I don't know. This is all crazy now. My mind is like swirling with ideas, and I feel like it's all hitting me right now that this is happening. Like just in this moment.
Everything hits at once.
Literally. Tombstone, that's the guy who's gonna be in this movie, and Tombstone is fucking badass, dude. You gotta watch that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show. It's really good. Like, I highly recommend that for anybody interested in like a really good like superhero cartoon or show. It's really good. What do you think? You think so what you're saying though, or what you're asking is how do you think they're gonna interact, or like what's gonna actually happen with that?
Yeah, like I just don't understand. Like they're just going to find a reason for them to have to fight the same crime, or maybe you think Spider-Man's going to like one of the others going to like show up to get the other. Like Punisher's going to try to hunt Spider-Man, or do you think Spider-Man's going to try to rein in Punisher?
Well, that's how
Kinda
the
all I can think of.
original. Well, that's how the original comic books like started with the Punisher and Spider-Man. Is the Punisher was introduced actually in a Spider-Man novel. The Punisher was actually introduced in a Spider-Man comic.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Shit.
The first Punisher introduction ever was in Spider-Man, and it shows Spider-Man actually in the crosshairs of the Punisher's scope.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool like comic cover. It's yeah, introduction of the Punisher. So this really is like it's not like it's completely unfounded. Like they went off in different directions. It's like the Inhumans and, well, actually it's probably less like that, but I was gonna say the Inhumans and Fantastic Four, because it was, or no, this would be a good one. I think the Black Panther was introduced in the Fantastic Four. That right there became its own thing entirely and its own comic series. That's kind of like the Punisher, introduced in Spider-Man, a really wacky and like kid-friendly comic book series, and then became its own like adult-themed comic book series, which I love the Punisher. I think it'll work out though. The reason why I mentioned earlier Tombstone though is because Tombstone in the comic books, he's the villain that's going to be in the new Brand New Day movie. There's 3 new villains. There's Tombstone, and there's 2 other guys. I forgot what they were because they're not as important as Tombstone. But
Tombstone is just like another big buff mafia type of guy, but he's like Stone, or like more like Stone.
sort of. So like he has like almost like Luke Cage skin, but it's like dead instead of like alive. So his like skin is like hard as a rock.
So he's also almost like Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty, yeah, he's like Solomon Grundy if he was smaller and coherent, if that makes sense. Born on a Monday. I forgot how it goes. The Solomon Grundy I feel like you would know that.
I used to.
the What is it? Is it married on a Tuesday or something like that? It's married, right? Isn't that in the?
Isn't one of them christened?
Is it christened? It's something like that.
I thought there was a christened born on Monday, christened on Tuesday. Let me look it up.
I literally right now. It's actually a real nursery rhyme, like in real life. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what he's based
I
on.
didn't know that at all. That's crazy. Born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on Wednesday. Thursday, he fell sick, and the illness got worse on Friday, and he died on Saturday. His body buried on Sunday. And like this, it was the end of Solomon Grundy. So that was the original poem, but, it's pretty much the same thing. Oh, no, no,
Like a lot of childhood nursery rhymes and stories,
Yeah,
it's about child death.
it's about child death. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of crazy nursery rhymes. The Ring Around the Rosie, Pocket Full of Posies. Isn't that about like the Black Plague?
Yep.
Ring around the Rosie. I wonder what is the London Bridge about one of the world wars? London Bridge is falling down, falling down. My Fair Lady. It deals with the dilapidation.
Who's the fair lady?
I have no it's not even about the World War. It's about the late Middle Ages. That's crazy. My Fair Lady. That's crazy. Who is the lady? We need to know. I don't know. I'm not finding out who the lady is.
If it's My Fair Lady, they could just be talking about like the noblewoman that they are a vassal to.
It says several explanations have been advanced to explain the meaning of the rhyme and the identity of the fair lady of the refrain. The rhyme is well known and has been referenced in a variety of works of literature and pop culture, but they don't give any examples. Viking attack explanation. One hypothesis of origin is that the rhyme relates to the supposed destruction of the London Bridge by Olaf II in 1014. Another explanation, child sacrifice and immurement explanation. Alice Bertha Golm put forward the hypothesis that the song refers to the burying and perhaps alive of children on the foundations of the bridge. That's crazy. And here we go. Fair Lady identity. Several attempts have been made to identify the Fair Lady. The Virgin Mary. The nursery rhyme could allude to the Virgin Mary as the Fair Lady. So I guess that could be like My Fair Lady, as in like basically calling out to God. Matilda of Scotland. Henry the First consort, who between 1110 and 1118 was responsible for the building of the series of bridges that carried London Colchester Road across the River Lea. Eleanor of Provence, the consort of Henry III, who had custody of the bridge revenues from 1269 to about 1281. Or a member of the Lay family of Stoneleigh Park, Warwickshire, who have a family story that a human sacrifice lies under the structure. Wow. That's crazy. What's like one more crazy nursery rhyme? Oh, Fere Jacques is also really crazy too. The
What is that about?
Yeah, the French one, Fere Jacques, dormez-vous. It's like it goes, little bird, I pluck you, I pluck you. Oh, it's not Frere Jacques, it's Alouette.
Alouette.
Alouette, jante, alouette, jante. It is similar to Frere Jacques. That's why I thought about that. But it means lark, nice lark. Lark, I will pluck you. I will pluck your head.
Lark is a bird.
Yep. And your head, lark, I will pluck your beak and your head, lark, Your eyes, your neck, your wings, your legs, your tail, your back. Those are the lyrics of the song. But yeah, Alouette is based on that. I don't even understand why they're talking about that.
Alouette.
It says it usually involves audience participation.
Everybody grab a bird.
With with the audience echoing every line of each verse after the verse's second line. It is a cumulative song with each verse built on top of the previous verses. So at the end of this entire song, everybody's just shouting about destroying a bird. Oh. Lafort explains that this alludes to the Middle Ages when only a select few still understood Latin, and so as the lark makes lovers part or wakes up to the sleepyhead, this would explain why the singer of Alouette wants to pluck it in so many ways. If he can hatch it, for as Lafort notes, this bird is flighty as well. I kind of missed some context there, but yeah, it's a love thing. It's a love thing. Alouette, chante Alouette. I like that one.
Alouette.
But
It's
yeah,
a good song.
yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, all this relates to Solomon Grundy, which relates to Tombstone, which relates to Punisher
I
being
like how
in.
Culture Burns is going to be all about like culture from over 1,000 years ago.
But any culture, it doesn't matter if it's new, old. We'll take it. We'll take all the culture, even if it's French. Ugh. I'm just kidding. I'm French. Ugh.
He's not kidding. He hates y'all.
He's not kidding. Yeah, I'm self-loathing about the French side of me. No, I love the French side of me. It's defiant when it needs to be. Yeah, so that is gonna be pretty cool. You know, the Punisher being in Spider-Man. I look forward to that. I mean, never in like I I would have never thought this would ever happen. Honestly, it's crazy.
It's awesome that it is happening. They announced a while ago that Spider-Man's going to be more grounded and more like street level from now on. And so they're just going to make him like team up with the coolest street level heroes.
They did, but like I didn't even expect like this to like I expected Daredevil to show up in like a Spider-Man movie. I expected like, you know, somebody besides the Punisher. The Punisher is like a nerd dream of showing up in Spider-Man. Even if it's
Yeah.
even if it's like literally like you're saying like or like we were joking earlier where he just shows up and gives him a pep talk. Like that's still like there's going to be millions of nerds who are going to cry out in theater and gonna be like, "Oh my god."
I think what would be awesome is if he shows up by murdering somebody who's about to actually like possibly kill Spider-Man.
That would be cool. I think
Like Spider-Man's like he thinks he's like above all that, but then like Punisher has to save his life by killing somebody. And Spider-Man's like very conflicted about it.
you know what I think is going to happen? You know what actually would be perfect? What you're saying, but also have the first shot of the Punisher, no pun intended, be he's looking through the scope at his two targets, and one of the targets is the one that Spider-Man is fighting, and then the scope focuses in on Spider-Man, and you get that first comic book cover, like a reference to it, of the crosshairs on Spider-Man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's how you introduce him and have the Punisher like put his face up and like and look, and that'll also reference the original Spider-Man cover because that's the Punisher like looking through the sniper rifle and shit. I think that would be amazing. And we could get a more comic accurate suit like for the Punisher. It's going to be amazing. Oh shit, dude. You know what else? This could lead to him being in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't even think about that. Holy shit. That is amazing news, and I want to say that I'm so excited for that, and I think Marvel only put that out because of this next headline that they put out, or maybe they put this headline out as kind of a dampener from the last headline. I have no idea. But this next one is Mahershala Ali on when he'll start filming Blade. Call Marvel.
He doesn't know.
Call Marvel. Let them know I'm ready.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with that. You know what I honestly think is the answer? They want since they like Ryan Reynolds really wanted to get the original Blade, Wesley Snipes, on board to make that one movie. I think they were genuinely like weighing the possibilities. Like, how much do people like this guy? Should we just keep
Well,
him?
I think people love Wesley Snipes' Blade.
But he's so old.
He is, but I've always had an idea of how you could integrate Wesley Snipes' Blade into the Marvel movies, and I thought of a perfect way to do it.
You should make him like the the old man of the team of a new like team of mystical heroes. Like get another vampire who like looks to Blade as like the cool mentor.
So this is what that's kind of what I had as an idea. There was a comic storyline in the 2010s in Marvel Now, and since then I've had this idea, and I thought this is where they were going to go with it because they were talking to Wesley at that time. Is they had a storyline where it was Blade's daughter that was fighting like evil with all like the modern heroes and shit like that. And I thought
That's
that,
cool.
yeah, I thought that would be like a perfect idea for taking Wesley Snipes' Blade, honoring that tradition, but also like doing another like a legacy kind of.
True.
I would love honestly if they did that. Wesley Snipes has like a mentor Blade, and he's training like his daughter or like a new line of vampire
His daughter
hunters.
can be on the team. I was also thinking just like Morbius or like a different person who's not Morbius.
or
New Morbius.
or Morbius that's not Jared Leto.
That's what I'm saying, like a new Morbius.
I'm Morbius. How did I get into this
I don't
universe?
know what they were doing. Like I don't know what they were doing with these characters. Like,
They wanted to make money off Marvel.
but like they had the shittiest characters that they were using. Like, why wouldn't they just make a new?
Ah, dude, Morbius is cool.
Morbius is not cool.
Hey,
He's just a vampire.
I like Morbius in the comics. You know what? But maybe
Cool. He's cool as one character in a whole cast of amazing characters.
maybe I'm biased because when I was a kid, one of my favorite things ever, like for like cartoons, was the Spider-Man animated series.
Is he in that?
Oh yeah, he's a big character in that, and he's honestly like a really cool and kind of what's the word, character, like sympathetic character. Like he's like an anti-hero. I mean, he is in the comics, but like he's really utilized well in that series. And I always liked his character in the comics because of that, because it kind of expanded on that perspective, so to speak. I don't know. He's a cool character, I think. And he's also been in a lot of comics that I personally love. Like he was in Marvel Zombies. I think we talked about this before, where there's a specific storyline where the Marvel Zombies had this organization called Armor, and they were like an interdimensional like police force or task force, and he was one of the heads of Armor. And it just goes to show you like how smart he is, that he can be like the head of like a monster interdimensional task force. It's his vibe.
Yeah.
He's cool though. I think Morbius, if he was utilized better and probably not by Jared Leto, I think he would be like a cool character. Yeah, honestly though, this whole thing with Blade sucks, and I just want them to make the Midnight Suns. That's it. Mel Brooks returning as Yogurt for Spaceballs the sequel.
Yeah, dude.
That's gonna be amazing. Amazon MGM sets. I have the highest expectations ever for this that are not going to be shattered whatsoever. This is going to be everything that it's supposed to be, and there's not going to be anything wrong with it at all. And it's set for a 2027 theatrical release. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be amazing?
I think it's going to be hard to pull off, and I think that we should all not care about it and be happy when it's good.
Yeah, no, I think
everybody should stop thinking about this movie until it comes out, and then just let it happen, and then it could be the most amazing thing in the world.
Well, that's the best possibility for like Mel Brooks, is that everyone just forgets that this announcement happened and just like keeps it in the back of their head, and then when it happens, it's just like
oh shit, Spaceballs 2 is out?
Exactly. Yeah. Like this will be amazing.
Gotta see that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm so excited for it, but I do have my reservations. But obviously,
may the Schwartz be with you.
Yeah, may the Schwartz be with you. Obviously. What else do we got? Lee Cronin's The Mummy has wrapped filming, so that sounds like it's gonna be cool. A new Mummy movie.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really hope.
They always try to do that. They try to keep that going.
Yeah, I mean, the Brendan Fraser one was great.
Yeah.
It just really sucks that they did that Tom Cruise one.
I never saw that.
Me either.
So wasn't the Tom Cruise one like going to be different? Wasn't that movie going to be like part of the cinematic monster verse?
Well, it was, but that's the thing is,
That's not what I don't think of Brendan Fraser's Mummy movies as being like a contemporary to like the classic Mummy films. You know what I mean? Like they were trying to get Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, but it's like those movies are barely even about the mummies. It's more about Brendan Fraser.
So yes and no. Yeah, you're right. It's more about Brendan Fraser, but I think the idea was more so like I think originally even with the Mummy, the series, they were even gonna branch out to like different like supernatural entities. That's why they had in the third one it was about like a Chinese emperor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they go to Shangri-La.
Yeah, and they even like fight Yeti. So the idea was is that they were thinking about even branching out to like different supernatural entities from there. And I don't have you ever watched the Van Helsing movie?
Well, yes, I
I was
have.
gonna say it's
I like that
amazing.
movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. That is by the same, if I'm not mistaken, writer and director, but it's definitely by the same director as the Mummy series, at least the first two movies.
That's cool.
It is, and that's why it has like that kind of vibe too, like that action
That
adventure
movie
vibe.
has Frankenstein in it.
It does.
You know
It has
what?
Dracula in
You
it too.
changed my mind. You convinced if that guy made that movie, you changed my mind.
Well, he did, and that's what I'm trying to say is like I
They
think
should have.
they
They should have
tried to
done a
do
Van
that.
Helsing movie before anything else.
Well, most definitely. I think that was the idea with doing the Mummy movie and doing Dracula
Yeah.
Untold, because Dracula Untold was technically in the same universe as the Mummy movie with Tom Cruise, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least they were trying to set it up that way. And if you watch the Mummy movie, they have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in that movie. So they were trying to set up like a monster mash, like
In the
Avengers kind
Mummy
of.
movie?
Yeah, they have Dr. Russell Crowe plays Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be, I think, a Nick Fury of this new dark universe was the Dr. Jekyll Russell Crowe guy. But it didn't like pan out.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Just this first sentence right here, I think gives me pause. I haven't seen this movie yet, Evil Dead Rise, but it says that Lee Cronin was the director of Evil Dead Rise, and if he directed that and he's doing the Mummy movie, I think that's going to be fantastic. Like, that's awesome.
Do you think they're still trying to make the MonsterVerse happen?
Oh, 100%. They've been trying to remake the MonsterVerse every couple of years. They even tried to do it with the Invisible Man movie recently and the Wolfman movie that they just came out with like a month or two ago.
Wait, is Invisible Man part of the MonsterVerse?
Well, no, they tried to reboot it again after the Mummy. They tried to do another MonsterVerse where it was like more of like a romantic MonsterVerse, and that was they had the Invisible Man, if I'm not mistaken, as the first one.
Who else was in the romantic one?
Wolfman. It just came out.
Wolfman with Javier Bardem?
No, it's
That movie's old.
It's 2025, Wolfman. It follows a family seeking to protect his
Another Wolfman?
a reboot of the Wolfman franchise. The plot follows a family man seeking to protect his wife and daughter from a werewolf, only to become infected and slowly transform into the creature. It's a Blumhouse movie. With the success of Wanell's The Invisible Man, it rekindled Universal's interest in the Monsters franchise. They accepted a pitch by Ryan Gosling, who's also set to star for a new Wolfman film with Derek Cianfrance to direct. I didn't know Ryan Gosling was in this. However, Cianfrance left the project in 2023 and Gosling dropped out of the role while Wanell took over as director with the new cast. All right, well, that makes sense. I would have loved to see Ryan Gosling as the Wolfman. That would have been awesome. But it's got Julia Garner as the mom. She's really good. She's also the new Silver Surfer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Plot details are still firmly under wraps for the Mummy. There's probably two basic plots to the Mummy. One, team of researchers or one researcher or a couple researchers go into a mummy's tomb and uncover an ancient mummy and release a curse where the mummy turns alive. Or team of researchers get a shipment from Egypt and it has a mummy in it that releases an ancient curse that turns alive. Those are really the only two plot details that it could be. Oh man, I like Fangoria. We got to check this this website out more. I know it was originally what do you call it? Back in the 90s and 2000s, I think in the 80s too. Actually, it might even go back to the 70s. A really good magazine. 50 Cent to play Balrog in Street Fighter movie.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
They're getting like a bunch of celebrities in the Street Fighter movie. This could be so expensive.
Andrew Koji and Orville Peck are also already on the call sheet of the adaptation of the Capcom video game. The rapper turned actor and entrepreneur has joined the eclectic cast of Street Fighter. It definitely is eclectic. The call sheet ranges from A-lister Jason Momoa as Blanca, to heartthrob Noah Centino as Ken, to Orville Peck as Vega. Joe Anoa'i, aka WWE superstar Roman Reigns, and martial artist actor Andrew Koji are on the roll call as battler Akuma and lead character Ryu, respectively. Kalina Liang is playing Chun-Li, and Jackson will play Balrog, 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, a disgraced boxer who is also the bodyguard of the villain. Sources say he is deep into training for the part and will be doing his own stunts for the picture. Legendary had no comment. That's cool. Not the no comment part, but the stunts. Kateo Sakurai, the Eric Andre show, is directing the feature. What? That's crazy. Which begins production in August in Australia. Legendary is co-developing and co-producing alongside Capcom. The guy that is responsible for like some of Eric Andre, that's pretty legit. That's cool. Street Fighter 6 is the latest game in the franchise and was released in June 2023. The Grammy-winning Jackson was sold over 30 million albums, is known in Hollywood circles for his TV empire fueled by various Power series for Star, his G-Unit film and television, also produced ABC's Or Life, and recently completed production on Season 4 of Black Mafia Family, 4 stars, along with Season 2 of Black Mafia Family docuseries. In 2024, Jackson partnered with Lionsgate to launch 50 Cent Action, a FAST channel that has been named #1 action channel on Roku and LG Fast platforms. Jackson is repped. We don't really need to know who's repped by. That's pretty cool, though. And to tack on to all this news, because I sent this to you today, and we were just talking about this before the start, is Andrew Schultz is also in Street Fighter now, which is crazy. It's crazy. Do your best, Andrew Schultz. It's crazy.
What?
Yeah, hey, I love a Schultz epiphany. I love a Schultz epiphany. Did you ever see Shane Gillis saying I love a Schultz epiphany on the podcast?
No.
Because you know how Andrew Schultz will like, he'll have these moments where he'll be like, whoa, so like you're telling me that like the universe and like all these guys like build up the manifestation of like everything, and like, whoa.
He's like Rogan but dumber, isn't he?
He is like Rogan but dumber. And I think that's why Rogan likes him, because he sees that like bright-eyed, bushy-tailedness of like wow. But like he definitely has that vibe. I like the dude that I like a lot of honestly, all the dudes that are on Flagrant 2 are awesome, and The Breakfast Club and Brilliant Idiots. It's funny because Andrew Schultz is probably like the most like he's the most on top of all those, other than, The Breakfast Club. He's also like one of the most obnoxious parts of all those.
Yeah.
Like, I love hearing like Alex's takes on the show on Flagrant 2. I like hearing like and he's a good counterpoint to Schultz too. Cause the other dude, I'm even forgetting his fucking name now. Is it Akash Singh? Is that his name?
Akash Singh?
Y-
I don't know.
Yeah, the dude that's on Flagrant 2.
I'm not familiar with their podcasts.
Oh, it's basically like slice of life where they just talk about like shit that's like happening. But it's, I don't know. Akash Singh, that's his name. I liked these guys. I watched Guy Code with these guys on it, and I thought it was pretty good, and I thought they were good on it. Same thing with Girl Code. You can find like a lot of these podcasters coming from that, like Annie Letterman specifically. She's awesome.
Dan Soder was on Guy Code.
Dan Soder, yep. Who else? I think Charlemagne was on Guy Code too, which he's friends with Schultz. Oh, Chris DiStefano was on Guy Code.
Yep.
A lot of funny dudes on Guy Code. And they ended up
Really?
just making podcasts after. But yeah, Andrew Schultz on Street Fighter. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited. He's gonna add definitely like a funny vibe and goofy vibe to the whole thing. I mean, it definitely already has a cartoonish vibe with that cast, but he's gonna just be like another cog in the machine, I guess, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Like I mean that completely in a good way.
Yeah, machines need cogs, man.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, they're not running right. All right. This next one we've talked about Denis Villeneuve. Villeneuve. How do you say his name?
Denis Villanueva.
Denis Villeneuve. We've talked about.
I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Hold on, let me look it up.
I was gonna say. I feel like his last
I think
name
it's more like Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Let me look. Hold
I,
on, I'm finding
I was
out.
gonna say. I want to know. I know somebody with that last name, but I don't want to pronounce it like that person because I've heard it pronounced a different way. Because I would just call him Denis Villanueva.
Well, let me play it. Hold on. It says Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. All right. So Denis
Oh,
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. Well, hold on a second. I just clicked on this and it got rid of the answer.
Just
It's not Neuve, it's Neuve.
Neuve. Denis
Like
Villeneuve.
like a nook.
Yeah.
Neuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
So Denis Villeneuve is directing the next James Bond movie.
Hold on. I need to leave because I fucking hate that I can't watch a video Discord with you. It doesn't make any sense. Because you play shit on the Discord all the time. So I'm gonna leave. I'll be right back. Alright, so he throws a little bit of a at the end of it. He kind of pronounces the E at the end sometimes. He goes, Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve. Throws like an at the end. Alright, try again.
All right. What am I trying?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve is directing the next James Bond film. That should be awesome, honestly.
That is going to be amazing.
He's like
A French guy's making the new James Bond? It's going to be weird. It's going to be crazy.
yeah, but his movies though, like even taking out the French part of it, have always been like awesome.
Why do you keep referring to French as being a negative thing?
Oh, I love French
I'm
people.
saying it's going to be crazy in a good way.
He's
You're like,
Canadian
don't
also.
worry. Besides the French part, I think this movie might actually be really good.
Besides the French part.
That's what you just said.
No, I'm joking. I love French people. I love the French. I am French, so that, like I said, that would be self-loathing of me. He's directed Arrival, Prisoners, Enemy, Dune, Sicario, and Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, he's going to do a great job. A great James Bond.
Yeah. Sicario
He's
was
going to do a fantastic one.
Sicario was a good show of that.
But who's going to be his James Bond?
No. Idris Elba?
I hope so.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really fucking cool.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says Twins co-starring Danny DeVito earned him more than $40 million after back-end deal. The studio did not believe in him leading a comedy, so instead of his usual salary, he received 40% of revenue, including home video. Good for him.
Yeah.
He he spent all that money on cigars. You know, he was the highest paid actor on Batman and Robin.
I just saw a crazy video.
What was it?
It was a guy getting his head punched into a wall really hard.
Culture burns. That guy got a culture burn to the face. Amanda Seyfried auditioned for Wicked 6 times before losing role to Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande? Some shit. Oh, I want to recommend a movie because I watched this movie recently, and for those that like pretty crass comedies, Ricky Stenicki was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It had John Cena playing a failed actor who basically does like rock and roll impersonations, and then he gets hired by these three guys who always blamed all their like trouble on this one character that they invented as kids, and they basically hired John Cena to play the guy who is that character. It's pretty amazing, honestly. I thought the movie was great.
Cool.
Amazon was initially interested in Christopher Nolan for Bond and willing to give final cut. Villeneuve, well, I'm just gonna say it. However, Villeneuve does not have Villeneuve does not have final cut authority. Whoa. The Social Network Part 2 is in the works at Sony with Aaron Sorkin set to write and direct. Secret Netflix movie that landed lofty California tax credit is likely Brad Pitt's Adventures of Cliff Booth. That's going to be awesome.
Wait, what?
Secret Netflix movie that landed lofty California tax credit is likely Brad Pitt's Adventure of Cliff Booth. That's the character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
that's awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I loved that movie, and I loved how mad people got about the Bruce Lee scene, because I love Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's
And
awesome.
I thought it was so funny. And I would just love if they're like, all right, we're getting more of this guy Cliff, and just more of him going through like historical things, and like almost like a like Forrest Gump, but he's like a really cool actor who's just like outdoes everybody around him and just like beats people up. You see him meet Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris acts like a little bitch around him.
He's also slightly based on Robert Wagner because he killed his wife.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was literally on a boat that it happened.
Yeah.
But he looks more like the guy from Great Gatsby, Robert Redford.
Yeah, he does. That makes sense. He looks like Robert Redford at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Huh.
Seth Rogen says Giggly audition tape would end his career today.
What does that mean?
That means it was a really crazy audition tape.
For what?
For the movie Giggly.
Oh, I thought he was saying that like he was giggly in the audition tape. Are you sure that's not what he means?
No, the movie Giggly. I think it's
What is that?
It's one of the worst films of all time, actually. It was with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck when they were in love.
It's called Giggly.
It's Giggly. Did I put it up? Yeah, I got it on the thing if you want to check it out. I don't even know what it's about, honestly. I just know that it's like a meme at this point. Giggly, played by Ben Affleck, is ordered to kidnap the psychologically challenged younger brother of a powerful federal prosecutor. It's a romantic comedy written, co-produced, and directed by Martin Brest, starring Ben Affleck, J-Lo, Al Pacino, Christopher Walken. Hey, I'm Christopher Walken. A terrible impression. Brest and producers disagreed about the film, leading to a protracted shutdown after filming, as well as edits that Brest did not approve. Affleck and Lopez became romantically involved during production, leading to major publicity. However, upon release, Giggly was universally panned. In subsequent years, it has been considered one of the worst films of all time. It is also one of the most expensive box office bombs in history, grossing $7.2 million against the $75.6 million budget. It is the last film that Brest ever directed and his only unprofitable film as a director. Giggly is a low-ranking Los Angeles mobster who is not nearly as tough as he pretends. Lois, a high-ranking member of Giggly's organization, commands him to kidnap the mentally challenged younger brother of a powerful federal prosecutor to use as a bargaining chip to save New York-based mob boss Starkman from prison. It's just a bunch of bullshit and nonsense, really, in this movie. Giggly successfully convinces the young man Brian to go with him by promising to take him to the Baywatch, apparently a reference to the television show, which seemed to be Brian's singular obsession. Lois does not trust Giggly to set the job done correctly, so he hires Lewis does not trust Giggly to get the job done correctly, so he hires a woman who calls herself Ricky to take charge. Giggly is attracted to Ricky, but he resents both Lewis's lack of faith in him and having to take orders from a woman. He is also frustrated by Brian's insistence on going to the Baywatch, in quotes, and that Ricky is a lesbian.
I couldn't talk at the time, but
This movie's awful.
know how hilarious it is that it went from like he's like emotionally unstable or something like that to like, oh, he's mentally challenged.
Yeah, it's this whole thing is just like this movie is terrible. Events take a dark turn when Giggly and Ricky receive orders to cut off Brian's thumb, something neither wants to do. At a hospital, Giggly sneaks into the morgue and cuts off a corpse's thumb, which he sends to the prosecutor as Brian's. Giggly and Ricky return to his apartment, where he confesses his love, and they consummate their relationship. They are summoned to meet with the mob boss. Starkman reveals that he did not approve of the plan to kidnap a federal prosecutor's brother, nor to cut off
Wait, I have a
Brian's
question.
thumb. Yeah,
Who plays the brother or the son, whatever it is, like the mentally challenged character?
Justin Bartha.
Look him up.
Um, National Treasure. He's the nerdy guy from National Treasure.
Played a mentally challenged mafia boss son.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's awesome. Therefore, it not only failed to increase pressure on the prosecutor, but also undermined their credibility because the fingerprint did not match Brian's fingerprint. That's hilarious. Starkman kills Lewis in retaliation. Who plays Lewis? Lenny Veneto. But Starkman is Al Pacino. Starkman kills Lewis in retaliation.
Al Pacino's in this movie?
Yeah, he plays Starkman. He kills Lewis in retaliation for the kidnapping and associated scrutiny by law enforcement. He's about to kill Ricky and Giggly, but I hate how they keep calling him Giggly. Just call him Larry.
Ricky and Giggly.
Just call him Larry. But she talks him out
Yeah,
of
but
it.
it goes by Giggly.
I guess so. I honestly would have liked this movie more if the movie was called Larry Giggly instead of just Giggly. It just seems so stupid and goofy to call it Giggly. But I guess that's what they
Yeah.
were going for. I don't know, but it seemed to not work because nobody went and seen it. Did you hear what that budget was versus how much they made?
I did.
75.6 million was the budget, right? The box office was 7.2 million.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's bad. That's very bad.
A lot of people paying a lot of money to make this guy's stupid movie.
A lot of people paying a lot of money to make this guy's stupid movie. That'd be like if a Marvel movie made $20 million at the box office when all was said and done.
Yeah. 20 years down the line, it still didn't make its money back.
It's still this movie will never. They could re-release this movie today and it won't make its money back. They leave Starkman's decide to leave the mob and discuss returning Brian to where they found him. Discuss returning Brian to where we're just gonna put you back where we found you. On the way, they noticed a Baywatch-like music video that is being filmed on the beach. Brian begs to be let off there, and after some convincing, they consent. Giggly convinces Ricky to take his car to escape, but at the last minute, she returns to pick him up, and they leave town together. They just drop this guy off at a fucking like a Baywatch-style party. This movie's awful, but it's crazy. Halle Berry was invited to be the female lead before dropping out due to scheduling conflicts. Good for her. With her film X2, definitely good for her. She was
Who
replaced.
did?
Halle Berry.
Oh yeah.
But her time will come. She also did Catwoman shortly after this. So, yeah. She was replaced with J-Lo, who signed in late 2001 for a reported $12 million. Adam Brody and Seth Rogen auditioned for the role of Brian. Honestly, either way, that would have been good casting. I get now. I understand why now I get why the headline was the way it was. Seth Rogen says that his audition tape for Giggly would end his career today.
He's like asking for it to come out.
It's basically.
Why is he saying that? Why would he even bring it up?
Why would he even bring it up? Well, because it's so crazy that he was a part of this movie. This movie's a major meme. It's wild.
I've never heard of it.
I've only heard of this movie because of the memes. Because it was like known as one of the worst films of all time. Giggly began shooting in Los Angeles
Ben Affleck has been in a lot of really bad movies, huh?
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, this sounds great. The original ending featured Giggly being killed, but after negative response to a test screening, the ending was reshot and edited. That would have been such a better ending than having them drive off into the sunset.
That's because they get like brain dead people to watch these movies and react.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it'd be nicer if they had a happy ending. So do you like these characters? You want them to have a happy ending?
You want them to have a happy ending. Yo, that's hilarious. You just want them to drive off into the sunset, that's it? Martin Brest is just like, I can't take this. All right, give him the sunset ending. Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's funny. Ebert and James Berardinelli were two of few major critics to not write it off completely. Ebert, in his print review for the Chicago Sun-Times, gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4 and made the balanced observation that Brest avoided obvious plot developments, and he said Walken, Pacino, and Kazan made the best of their small roles. Wow. Maybe the movie is worth seeing for some scenes that are really very good. Wow, that's crazy that Ebert said that. Interesting. Mel Brooks turned 99. I don't know if I mentioned that one.
Mel Brooks just turned 99.
Yep.
He's about to star in his own movie again.
Yeah.
I guess not star, but you know what I mean.
He's basically the age of yogurt now.
That's just awesome.
That is awesome. Brenda Song had to convince Disney TV executives to allow her to star in The Social Network.
That's wait, what? Are
Yeah.
you serious?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's pretty crazy. Like, she still worked for Disney?
The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody actress revealed that Disney nixed her slated role in Gran Torino 2 years prior in 2008. She would have been great in Gran Torino.
She was going to be in Gran Torino? That would have been, like, her turning point for being... Because, like, that movie ended up just being, like, an old man movie.
Yeah.
But if Brenda Song was in it, out of nowhere, like, people would have seen it, and people would have seen how great it was, and she would have skyrocketed.
I agree completely, because that was a pretty good movie. Like it got a lot of flack for how kind of on the nose it was at times, but it was a great movie. Great car too. Song, who began on the Disney Channel show in 2005 as a teenager. By the way, I used to love Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. They used to be my shit. Said she had later turned down working with auteurs due to Disney executives not approving of certain roles. It wasn't until 2010 that Song was able to convince the then president and CEO for Disney branded television, Gary Marsh, to let her star in David Fincher's The Social Network. I was just like,
Hold on.
Yeah.
Does she have, like, a life contract?
Disney just like kind of runs their entire life at that point. Yeah.
Well, like, how the fuck is that even true? That's crazy.
It is. I was just like, I am an actor. When you hired me, I was not a hotel heiress. If I have ever done anything in my personal life to ever draw bad attention to your company, I understand. But this is the last season of the show, and this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Song recalled telling Marsh. Song shared the story during.
She was still on the show at the time?
Yeah, I guess it was the last season. So that would.
I didn't think that, like, when she was on The Social Network, I felt like that was like a long time after that. Maybe I guess not that long, but you know what I mean? Like, I thought there was a gap.
No, it was like 2008 that The Social Network came out. And then Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was like, early 2000s, mid to early 2000s to like, I guess late 2000s, and then Sweet Life on Deck came out. And I don't think that had Brenda Song in it at that point.
Who knew we were going to go from the origins of nursery rhymes to Sweet Life of Zack and Cody?
Yeah, literally. I guess they didn't the character had an intended sexual assault scene, so Disney nixed it for the Gran Torino role.
Yeah, I figured that was going to happen.
Yeah. She said, I was very upset, but I was like, okay, I guess it didn't work out. Sorkin told The Hollywood Reporter in 2021 that he wanted to pen for the sequel a script that exposed the dark side of Facebook. I think what has been going on with Facebook these last few years is a story very much worth telling, Sorkin said. And there's a way to tell it as a follow-up to The Social Network.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. and that's as much as I
I'm a big
know.
Social Network fan.
Dude, I've never seen that movie.
It's good.
It is.
You should check it out.
I will definitely check it out. Fincher is directing the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel for Netflix. I didn't know that.
That movie we were just talking about?
Yeah. I only read the headline. I didn't realize it was David Fincher was going to direct it. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
They did work together though on didn't David Fincher do Seven?
Oh.
I think he did. I think that was David Fincher. The guy who wrote the Mission Impossible theme died. Official poster for that movie. Oh yeah, The Naked Gun just came out.
Oh, dude, the trailer for that made me so happy. I was so happy.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love when they get to the part with with the guy who plays OJ's kid. And he's just shaking his head at the camera. That was so fucking great.
I love that like it's gonna be different because like we have to expect it to be different.
Yeah.
But they got somebody who's perfect for the role. I feel like he's been practicing. After he became famous, he was just in tons of hilarious stuff.
You're
Just
talking
being a
about
goofball.
what do you call it?
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson. Yeah, he's kind of been like preparing for this exact role. Like he's been fan casted so many times as the dude, Leslie Nielsen's
I've never
character.
heard,
I have, dude.
never heard that before.
It was
It was such a delightful surprise to me.
See, I've seen it on Reddit a lot. It was like the John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people were just like, this would be perfect casting because of how like serious he is. They're gonna make a Lilo and Stitch 2. Are we happy about that?
I mean, let's see how it goes.
I was
I didn't watch
I was
it.
gonna say I heard it didn't do too well, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I've heard people were really upset with it. I bet a lot of people went to go see it.
Oh, that's true.
You know, I
Yeah.
bet they made a lot of money on it, but like I think a lot of people were pissed off about it.
Yeah. And that's if a movie makes a lot of money and a lot of people are pissed off about it, they usually do better with the sequel. I think that's good for movie headlines. Two quick comic book headlines. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book based on the Paramount Plus animated series. Never seen it, but I thought that was interesting. That's coming out. Also, I couldn't really find that many other comic book news that seemed relatively interesting. Besides this, comic book artist says AI is a threat to livelihood. But when aren't they saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah, those comic book artists, they just gotta chill out. All right, so now we have some gaming news. Mind's Eye developer Build a Rocket Boy begins layoff process amid disastrous launch, studio sources say. That Mind's Eye game, that's like it's kind of like a what, a Watch Dogs kind of game.
I don't know, but I heard it failed.
Yeah, I heard it did terrible, but it looks pretty like all right. It's like open world and shit. But that's like my automatic like you're all right. As long as you've got an open world and I can run around and do shit, then the game's mostly all right to me.
Yeah.
Witcher 4 developer says it's very clear that Ciri is the right choice of protagonist, but that players shouldn't make opinions until the game is out. I didn't play Witcher yet. I'm kind of starting that right now again because I tried to start it before and I just quickly dropped off of it. But what do you think about this? Think Siri would be a good
Read it again. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. The Witcher 4 developer says it's very clear that Ciri is the right choice of protagonist, but that players shouldn't make opinions until the game is out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't really know anything about the books. I'm mainly a fan of Witcher 3. I never even played 1 and 2.
No, just
Witcher
based
3 came
on
out.
that, she would be a good protagonist.
That game, like she's like the main focus of the game when you're not even the main character.
I know what you're talking about. Isn't like the whole game like after her?
You're searching for her the whole time, and then every once in a while you get a quick glimpse of playing as her, and it's kind of cool because she has like a whole different set of abilities, but like it barely ever happens.
Yep.
But when you do get to play as her, it's like you experience quite a bit of her story, and it just kind of feels natural to start playing as her after Geralt, and Geralt can kind of become like the Vesemir to her, her new Witcher.
That's cool. So basically, it'll almost be like the flip where Witcher 4, maybe you're searching for Geralt, and at times maybe you'll play as him, but for the most part, you'll play as her.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, that'll be pretty cool. The SAG-AFTRA ends video game actor strike. Woohoo! I guess. I don't know. Hopefully, they got what they wanted. The actors. This is a funny one. I think we talked about this, or maybe we didn't, but I thought we did. But I just thought this was hilarious. Naughty Dog owner Sony files opposition to Naughty Cat trademark application, says dog and cat are highly similar. Are the words dog and cat similar enough to cause confusion? Naughty Dog owner Sony thinks they are, and has used that as a basis of an official opposition to a trademark application for Naughty Cat.
What?
Sony Interactive Entertainment has filed a notice of opposition with the United States Patent and Trademark Office against Naughty Cat trademark application filed by a company called Naughty Cat Company Limited. This Hong Kong-based company has 2 apps listed on the App Store, both gambling games that promise to reward users with real cash. That's a world away from the likes of The Last of Us and Uncharted. But that hasn't stopped Sony's lawyers from baring their teeth and barking angrily at the feline competitor. That's funny. In documents reviewed by IGN, Sony's lawyers argue that Naughty Cat trademark is confusingly similar to the Naughty Dog trademark, and it owns an overall commercial impression and connotation. That's funny. The first dominant element of the 2 marks, Naughty, is identical, Sony said. The second elements, dog and cat, are highly similar in that both refer to house pets and are likely to mislead consumers into believing mistakenly that Naughty Cat is affiliated with Psy and or Naughty Dog, or that its goods are licensed or approved by Psy and or Naughty Dog. The opposition note goes on to insist that any registration of Naughty Cat trademark is likely to cause confusion or to cause mistake or to deceive the public as to the source of the applicant's goods offered under the applicant's mark. And on top of this, Naughty Cat's application claims a first use date of December 25th, 2023, which that's years after Naughty Dog. Interesting. Just a bunch of legal shit. Death Stranding is getting an anime adaptation. Have you ever played Death Stranding?
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, but I really want to now. I've been seeing some awesome clips. Big fan of what I'm seeing, but I got to go back and play the first one.
Mm-hmm. They're doing a Death Stranding 2, right? Where he has like a kid.
Well, I think he has a. I don't know the story, but I think he has like a baby in the first one.
Does he?
He's carrying around. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's wild. Yeah, I gotta play that game too. The 2-year hunt for one of the rarest games in history. Is that? Tripitaka is the spiritual successor to cult classic Cosmology of Kyoto, and there's only one copy in existence. Cosmology of Kyoto is a first-person horror exploration game where players navigate a deeply haunted yet surprisingly educational terrain. Originally released in 1993, Kyoto and its disturbing depictions of suffering have since become a cult classic. Roger Ebert, known hater, loved the game so much that he spent weeks playing it. Despite its acclaim, though, the game was a commercial failure and never got a sequel. At least that's what many people believed until now. In 2023, a game called Triptaka was listed on Yahoo Japan. The game sold for $300 to an unknown party who, despite embarking on a bidding war that culminated in hundreds of dollars, didn't really share anything public about it. The transaction was originally noticed by Mark Buckner, who brought it up in a discussion between fans about the original eerie Japanese game. Though die-hard aficionados had a suspicion that Cosmology developers had considered a follow-up, concrete evidence of it was scant. The only apparent mention of a sequel lied in the resumes of 2 Cosmology producers, Hiroshi Onishi and Mori Koichi. Fans also spotted mention of an old old website for a 1999 museum exhibition on the Silk Road, though it was a work of fiction. Cosmology was rooted in the history of 10th century Japan and provided players with an in-game encyclopedia. It would make sense for a potential sequel to have an educational focus worthy of a museum exhibition. Despite these rumblings, it was unclear if the game had ever been published, or how far into production it got. Knowledge of the auction prompted video game academic Bruno de Figueiredo to track down the auction winner. The hope was that whoever bought it might share a copy of the game online. After all, up until this point, few knew what this game was, and its mere existence lay in doubt. But if it did exist, then it was obviously significant from a historical perspective. Fans would be eager to play it. But getting collectors to share copies of rare games is tricky. If a game is widely accessible, then it's no longer rare. Holding on to a copy ensures that it retains its aura as a prized possession. Hoarding also means that the value of a game won't drop. In fact, it might rise. Not all collectors see their possessions as commodities. Not all collectors see their possessions as commodities, though. Holding on to a culturally significant game might be motivated by the desire to preserve it for future generations. It's for posterity, which is relevant in instances where a copy of a game is still sealed. Uploading a game that you did not develop is also likely to be legally dubious. In this game, the owner declined to share the game in a form that others could play. The collector did, however, upload an hour's worth of footage on YouTube. The game was called Tripitaka, and though it did not outright classify itself as a sequel, the art style, historical focus, and slightly unnerving vibe placed Tripitaka in a similar realm as Cosmology of Kyoto. Fans considered it a spiritual successor. Cosmology itself had been developed with the help of Japanese museums. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. A rare video game out there. There's so many rare video games out there. I've always been on the lookout for like random rare games. Like there's even like rare PlayStation 2 games and stuff like that, and like you don't even have to look at like all these like crazy Nintendo games or like ET and shit like that. There's literally like some PlayStation 2 like randos that are just like either banned or rare that you can just find for like hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. It's crazy. Speaking of hundreds of thousands of dollars, Sony faces Dutch lawsuit over artificially high PlayStation prices.
Whoa.
Sony faces Dutch lawsuit over artificially high PlayStation prices. A consumer group in the Netherlands says that Dutch consumers pay too much for digital games on the PlayStation Store. The Dutch consumer group Stichting Machad en Consument Mass Damage Consumer Foundation has filed a collective that's a great name for that. Has filed a collective lawsuit against Sony, claiming that the console manufacturer has been exploiting its dominant position in the market. The group maintains that at least 1.7 million PlayStation owners in the Netherlands are paying too much for digital games on Sony's console. Research quoted by the foundation found that on average consumers pay 47% more for digital games than for physical ones. And the foundation's chair, Lucia Melchertz, says that people are being pushed towards digital-only consoles since the latest PS5 generation. The organization began its Fair PlayStation campaign in February, claiming that the PlayStation's large market share and monopoly on digital sales amounts to a Sony tax. They have since received more than 2,000 messages and emails from PlayStation owners. The lawsuit makes two main accusations: that Sony is excluding competition and that it is exploiting consumers and game developers. The collective action was launched on June 24th, and the first hearing is expected to take place later this year. It's not the first time Sony has faced legal action over its digital store. In the UK, consumer rights expert Alex Neil launched a legal claim over Sony's 30% cut on digital sales back in August 2022. An attempt from Sony to block the lawsuit failed in November 23, and the case is currently ongoing. It could potentially cost Sony up to $6.3 million in damages. Valve is facing a similar collective action claim over Steam in the UK, launched in June 2024. The lawsuit claims that Valve has restricted price competition on Steam, and it's seeking $656 million in compensation. Apple has also recently faced pressure over its App Store, from which, like Sony, it takes a 30% cut from payments. In April, the European Union issued a 568.6 million fine against the company for not permitting apps to link or make reference to third-party payment systems. That's crazy. It's a lot of money. And last but not least, EA CEO's pay is up as EA worker median income drops. Behold the tallest chart in game history. Plus, EA execs were paid a little more for boosting generative AI. EA CEO Andrew Wilson received 30.5 million in cash and stock pay for 12 months ending March 31st, 2025, nearly 5 million up from the year before. According to EA's most recent proxy filing, which was issued earlier this week, that's a significant boost for the longtime CEO of the studio behind Battlefield, Dragon Age, and Madden, especially, and this is my own add into this, especially when they're making really shitty games of the last 10 years. Last 10 years, they've not made, like, there's been not that many good EA games, and if it has been a good EA game, I think it's usually been under like a sub company that EA has like contracted out. Like I think Respawn's one of them that EA does, but then they I think they parted ways. But they have not been doing very good. I mean, honestly, I feel like the CEO should be making more, but EA is doing such a shitty job at what they should be doing that, you know, the CEO could be making 60 mil instead of 30 mil and could be asking for a raise because the company's doing so fucking well. But instead, the company's doing terribly and they got to cut everybody's pay and he's got to get fucking a raise. It's crazy. It also went in the opposite direction as the EA worker pay to which the company annually compares Wilson's take. EA reported that the median income for its full-time employees in 2024 was 117,000. Down from 149,000 the year before. Note that EA's tally for worker pay is disappointingly imprecise. It's ostensibly based on a median average, not the mean. Median equals pulling the middle number from a stack of salaries. Mean equals adding the salary stack together, then dividing by the number of salaries in that stack. Confusingly, EA says it used the same median. I love how they they just casually drop in the difference between median and mean. They're like, yeah, we're just going to teach you some math in case you don't get what you're reading. Confusingly, EA says it used the same median employee in 2025 that it used to compare compensation with Wilson in 2023 and 2024. It does not explain that workers' 2025 pay drop, but it says its figures for CEO and worker pay both include bonuses and stock grants, which can rise and fall in a given year. Nevertheless, Wilson's compensation is up. EA's chosen comparison figure for worker pay is down. And here's how that looks in a chart. I'm probably not going to show this chart, but in 2021 he was making 39 million. That's what I'm saying. If they put out like a good game every now and then, they would actually be making decent amounts of money. But also, now that I'm thinking about it, they're probably making that much money because everybody was stuck inside because of COVID. Notice how flat that bottom line appears to be, all you people that can't see this chart except for me. That's because when one is charting multi-million-dollar payouts against low six-figure at-best payments, it's hard to show any fluctuations in the lower line. The game file data viz department, that's me, that's the guy who wrote the article, has constructed a second chart to help you better see the changes in both lines. He broke the fourth wall on that one. To do that, I stretched the above chart to a height of 15,000 pixels. It's a dramatic measure for a dramatic comparison. Wow. It's a pretty big chart now. That's the future we're heading towards.
Doesn't have to be like that.
No, of course not. The proletariat needs to rise up against the autocracy. That's what needs to happen.
I agree.
I'm just kidding for anybody listening. We need the autocracy, obviously. We need our big men in power. We need our big people in power in order to do everything, obviously.